Here, sweet kisses.
Sounds a little muffled today.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Noon Show with Lisa and Johnny. We are coming to you live and streaming everywhere. Each day, we bring you engaging conversations, fresh perspectives, and stories that connect us all. The show airs Monday through Friday from noon until 1 o'clock Central Time. Johnny and I to join us along with today's show guests, Stephen Dethridge, editor-in-chief of the Tuscaloosa Thread, and the fabulous Edie Hand, author and, momager and all the things.
A little bit of everything.
Little bit of everything. All kinds of fabulosity. So for today's show, pull up a chair, sit back, and relax. And now, without further ado, here's Johnny.
Hey there, everybody. Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Miss Sunshine.
Can you believe this is our last show of the year?
Can you believe it? I was thinking about that earlier, and I'm thinking, wow.
Look how blessed we are. We have
got here quick.
A studio full of people.
We have got some of our best friends in the studio.
Yeah.
We love that. But
it feels good to be here.
Now that we're talking about that, we chase rabbits down so many different trails.
Yeah, I know.
But aren't we blessed?
We are blessed.
I mean, we have had a fabulous 2025, met so many new friends, got so many new folks that are part of the Noon Show gang now. And we're just meeting new people, learning new things. And it has been a blessed year.
It has been. Shout out to Stephen Weinman. Wow, I had a blast yesterday.
That was a great show. And I continue to be amazed, as you know. Every time we bring on someone who is in research, they blow me away. Because, as we talked yesterday, these are really good people with great hearts and great minds, obviously. And they're doing such remarkable work. And isn't it a thrill to be able to help them tell their stories?
It is. And, I feel a little spoiled, obviously. Really, because, I asked one question. I knew it was kind of off base when I asked him. But, we're talking about PFAS and the forever chemicals
That's
again.
A new term for
and some of us are changing our cookware out, like you, Johnny Rocket.
I changed mine out.
You got rid of your nonstick stuff and you went to the cast
iron. Iron skillet.
And then Dr. Brenda Brand, shout out, said, you absorb iron.
That's right.
When you into your system. And I asked Dr. Stephen Weinman on the air yesterday, knowing this was not part of his research. I said, so does that account for the increase or rise in people having difficulties with their iron levels? He said, I don't know. And I'm thinking to myself, well, let me go find another expert. Talk about spoiled. Well, I'm like, well, I can find one. Probably more than likely.
He's coming back to visit us in February, I believe.
I believe he is.
It is. And
because we didn't get it all covered yesterday.
Folks, we don't have time to go into this, but you ought to see our lineup in January and February already. We're booking in March, by the way, if you're interested. But we have got a lineup in January and February. It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, it's setting up to be a great ride already.
It is going to be fabulous. And folks, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for coming along on the ride and encouraging Lisa and I out there in the community. When you come up and tell us thank you and encourage us and give us ideas, we deeply appreciate it. And you're making such a difference. And we are very, very grateful. And we're going to have some fun today. It's kind of a hootenanny on Tuesday.
It is. We do. I would like to say a little word about New Year's resolutions. Back to Johnny and I had kind of a conversation yesterday. And I asked him, I said, do you make New Year's resolutions? I said, I don't either.
No, I don't.
Instinctively stay away from them because I feel like they set you up for failure.
Well, I think it's a habit that you just don't follow through on. And, now I do make goals.
Yes.
Some people might think they're the same thing. I think they're, quite frankly, they're perceived as something different. But I've already got a set of goals for next year. I'm already working on that.
And I was just telling Floss the boss, I'm working on some goals myself, not resolutions. No. But I would like to talk just a little bit about New Year's resolutions and why I think they really don't work. Because I was making some comments yesterday. Because I think it's we are too rigid with ourselves, and it's got to be all or nothing, and that's the problem.
Well,
but
it makes us feel good to make a resolution. It thinks
not me. It gives me
no,
anxiety.
I'm not talking about we two, because I'm not that way either. But a lot of folks think it makes them feel good that they're going to get off to a great new start. But unfortunately, and research shows it 2 or 3 weeks later, you've forgotten them.
That's right. So as we step into the new year, it's worth giving ourselves permission to rethink how we view New Year's resolutions. We often treat them as rigid promises, success or failure, win or lose. But growth doesn't work that way. We should give ourselves permission to fail, the ones we do set, to dust ourselves off and pick ourselves back up and try again. I think that's crucially important. In academia and other high-level professions, for example, as we have learned, failure is not just accepted, it is expected. Research fails, hypotheses don't pan out, experiments lead to dead ends. Yet, it is part of the culture.
That's
Yet
right.
those same environments produce innovation, discovery, and excellence. If people operating at the highest levels are allowed to fail as part of the process, do we know anybody else, anyone who talks about the process? Maybe somebody named Nick Saban.
I think I've heard that.
Right. Why shouldn't we? So if people who operate at the highest levels are allowed to fail as part of their process, why shouldn't we be? Of course, we should always strive to do our best, but if we don't try, success is guaranteed not to happen. Even when you fail this time, there's a very real chance that the attempt itself moves you closer to the next best thing, something that was actually meant for you. Failure doesn't disqualify you. It often redirects you. And sometimes it's that redirection that leads to the greatest growth and success of all. What say you, Edie Hand?
Well, I tell you,
I would like to know.
I would add to that, without failure, I'm not sure we grow as much. Failure is part of life. What's not an option? This is what's not an option.
Johnny.
Giving up is not an option.
I agree with that.
Failure, you can learn from. As a
Often,
matter of fact,
exactly what I was going to say. You learn from
trial and
failure.
error is
Right,
part of
Edie?
life.
Well,
Yes.
for both of you,
Yes.
I agree.
You learn.
We have
It
to
can
learn
hurt, but-
from our life lessons.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we take a different
Yes,
path
Mhm.
to help us, and it strengthens us.
Mhm.
And for me personally, for the choices I made that were wrong, I did learn that sometimes if I stop and I'm silent and I don't overreact,
Mhm.
I will respond appropriately. And I think that everyone should just sit back and relax and know that God's in main control.
Well,
But we personally have to have goals and tools that we've learned
That's
through
right,
life
we
to
do.
move us
I
forward.
agree. Yes, ma'am.
absolutely.
You
But
know,
I have actually gotten written in my Bible in a certain set of scriptures that I love that talks about success and failure. And in the margin, I have written, giving up is not an option. The stakes are too high. And what I mean by that is there is going to be failure. There are going to be wrong turns. We're always going to make wrong turns. And it's just part of life, like you said, Edie. And it's how you respond, not how you just overreact. Or I love the idea of just taking a quiet moment to reflect. Most of us don't do that very
Oh,
well.
and I
I
have
like
a
that.
drive from, toward Jasper to here. And I was thinking on my drive this morning and being silent and just being grateful
Mhm.
that I could come. You know what I love about this place here?
What is that?
Yes, there's a lot of things that don't always go just right in anybody's day of business. But everyone makes me feel wanted.
Mm.
And at this season stage of my life, I love it when Mary Kay says, well, here's the goat coming in. I know I'm not a goat. And so I got the terms now is that as a marketing person for over 50 years, to still be doing what you love, and that the eras that I've learned, maybe I can pass on the positive things to the next generation. And then here we are listening to what the community wants to see and hear and give it to them. And it makes me feel good.
Mhm.
So
You're a great example
Yeah.
for the rest of us, Edie.
well, thank you. But that's the way I feel.
Oh, mighty one, we love you.
Yes, by the way,
Did
we
you
do
get down
love
on
you.
your knees
Yes,
a little
we
further?
love you. Yes. 80 hands. Speaking of all things new, what have you got going on in January?
Woo-hoo.
Oh, well, we've got rock and roll for any
Oh,
that love.
real.
Right on. Yes.
True rock and roll.
And I brought a book that you can give away to your listeners.
Okay,
Someone,
we'll
y'all
do
can
that.
decide how you want to do
I'll
that.
give it away to my listeners, but I bought one of those for my mama for Christmas, y'all. She loves it. And guess what? She showed up at my house at Christmas with one with a book that you actually sent to her, Pearls of Hope.
Oh, the Pearls of Hope book?
She reads, but she
Oh.
reads everything in order. And that book just so happened to pop up, and she was reading it during Christmas at my house. Just so you know.
And and I love that, and I think
Oh, the last Christmas
and you asked
ride.
me to bring that, and I wanted to give that away to one of your
Edie
listeners.
Han, I want you to know that my stepmother in Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, she has this book club. Her book club is right now in the middle of reading The Last Christmas Ride by Edie Han.
Yeah.
Well,
Isn't that amazing?
Sweet
Look at that.
Well, it's again, when you give up a lot in life, I unfortunately lost all my family at early ages that changed the course
Yeah.
of my life and gave me more empathy for my fellow man. All three of my brothers died young at 19, 23, and 46. And I think that I learned about laughter from one of my brothers, David. I learned about seizing moments from my brother, Philip. And I learned about courage from my brother, Philip, from Terry, rather, that suffered. And what I say from that is, if you take the tools of those hard things and take them and turn them into beautiful situations like we are, to say you too can do hard things. And that's what that book is about. And I'm very excited to announce that this year that I'm looking to, you never know what's going to happen, but it looks like I'm going to get a movie series with the
look at
Bride
that.
series.
Listen to that.
So that's something that is a television series out of Los Angeles, an entertainment group. But you can I worked for 10 years, and I said, I hope I get to see this before I leave this old earth.
Yeah.
And so, but it is in the process, but you never know. But my main thing is, my brother said, I hope you tell our story one day and the importance of kindness. And so if that's it, then I feel that I will have given the Blackburn Boys name to know that these little country boys that taught me so much about life. And here I am, that I learned how to maneuver from the country girl to the city traffic.
Yeah, rocking and rolling.
And then the rock and roll came.
You're rocking and rolling.
How do you know that was a rock and roller, Edie?
Well, anybody that's
Who's your
listening,
cousin?
the Big E, and that's Elvis Presley.
That's right.
When I was 16 years old, the first time I met Elvis Presley, and my grandmother and his grandmother were sisters. And so I got to go because of my grandmother.
Mhm.
And Minnie May, I was named after her, Edith May. So we are having a
That's
Love that
concert.
name,
beautiful.
Yes, we have a concert here at the Historical Bama Theater.
Mhm.
And I hope people will purchase tickets for this event. Ronnie McDowell is a huge icon, country music entertainer, and was selected by Priscilla to be the voice of Graceland. He and I got to do for RCA in the group when they were doing the film with Kurt Russell about Elvis. So we got called in, hired to do voice work at the end in the studio. It was pretty cool.
Stop. That is too much fun. Oh my gosh.
It's too much fun.
Ugh.
And then, so Ronnie, along with Billy Blackwood.
Ooh, we got to
just
meet him the
taken-
other day. He brought him to meet us.
Well, and Billy Blackwood is the
Oh.
son of James
Yeah,
Blackwood.
Blackwood Brothers.
They, remember
Oh, yeah.
Arthur Godfrey, he made them famous around the world.
Absolutely.
Well, he's going to be there. So I've asked them, and we'll know Monday, but I want to have special rates for our church folks and our college students and some things, so that people are thinking last minute, what am I going to do? So I'll see what they do, but we're going to get something stirred up special because the Blackwood brothers made such a difference. James sang How Great Thou Art at Gladys, Elvis's mother's funeral, and at Elvis's. And Billy sang it at Lisa Marie's funeral. So they've been a part of the joy and the sadness. And Billy lives in Nashville now, but he agreed to come share a few stories before we get started with DC and I of the show. And
that's
do
nice.
some Q&A. And I've got David Briggs. You remember David played, he did music arrangements for Elvis
He did.
and had the studio there in Nashville. He just passed away this year.
Oh.
But his brother's going to answer some questions about, what it was like for him growing up around Elvis through the eyes of his brother. But if we got somebody calling?
No, we got to run the
we gotta
road
run?
in a minute. So
Okay.
we're going to continue this. So
All right. Well,
come back. My question coming back is Charlie Hodge still living? We want to talk about Charlie.
okay. I love Charlie.
Yeah.
I got a picture of him in the book.
Well, I won't talk about Charlie
Okay.
for a minute when we get back. But Miss Sunshine, we got a break time.
We do, guys. You've been listening to the Noon Show on FM 100.1. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Has he passed away?
You know it.
No, I really didn't.
You didn't?
No,
Yes.
I wasn't sure. No.
Yes. Charlie's not here.
The reason I'm asking Charlie Hodge, I
He's
grew
your
up with.
cousin, isn't he? Is he a cousin?
Okay,
to
No,
so
you?
he's not.
what did you think about these
I grew up with
questions?
him.
There are way too many,
His,
especially
Well,
at this
I wanted,
stage.
I wanted
Dad.
to, you know.
So I
choices,
crossed the ones I thought were either
His friends
repetitive
my
or
dad, and I was
but
pretty sure.
even just leaving
And
it
some I'm
Sure.
leading to others, I think. Maybe.
There's
even leaving it
This
just
is,
about half of
this
them.
is,
I don't think we've got time to
There's
uh,
James.
get through a lot. But I mean, just whatever your favorites are, then I'll cross through them.
All
if you need to.
night singing with Wally
Oh,
Fowler.
big deal.
Okay.
My grandmother used to take me. I
All
grew
right,
up listening to Southern
So
gospel.
we're coming back with Stephen, or?
Yeah, we need to talk about the show and then get.
And then
Okay.
I'll move over and let Stephen.
Are you
talk.
are you coming back with commercials?
Yeah, I'll do a quick one.
There's Charlie
Mhm.
and we'll sound just right.
Welcome back to this Happy New Year version of the Noon Show. Happy New Year, everybody. We're so glad you're with us today, and thank you for being part of our Noon Show gang. We have such fun because of you, and also because of our sponsors. We're able to put the show together. And
Oh, that's right.
we love our sponsors.
We do.
And a happy new year to all of our sponsors. Our first original sponsor, the wonderful folks at Bryant Bank. And we're looking forward to a full year again with them in the coming 2026. And folks, if you don't know Bryant Bank, you must have just moved to town, because they are the best of the best. And we want to say thank you to our friends at Bryant Bank for all
thank
you
you
do
so
for our
much.
community. You know they're the best bank in Alabama because they were named that just a couple of months ago. But you also know they're the best bank in Tuscaloosa, the only true community-based bank. But what we want to do is remind you and thank our friends at Bryant Bank for all they do to make this community so very special. Their charitable, philanthropic, nonprofit
right.
work is beyond measure with their impact. I mean, they have tremendous impact in this community. We love those folks. We appreciate them. And if you're a customer, you understand the Bryant difference and that you're part of the family. And if you'd like to be part of the Bryant family, just simply stop by one of their locations. Main office is on McFarland Boulevard North, with convenient locations in Northport, up around North River, and in beautiful downtown T-Town. So go see our friends at Bryant. Tell them Lisa and Johnny sent you. They might even get a lollipop out of that deal.
Well, you might.
And remember, they are an equal housing lender and a member of
FDIC.
Go see our friends at Bryant Bank today.
Yes.
And we've got a
I'm busy
big
looking
old
at each
Elvis
book over
event.
here.
Big old Elvis event coming up.
These are
It
incredible
is
pictures.
January the 17th on a Saturday night at the Bama Theater. They can go to their website, which is the TUSCARTS.org.
Tusk Cards, okay?
Yes, and then if you want to learn more, I have it on ediehan.com, and the events, the cost of the tickets. We're going to do something special next week for some of our seniors and students.
Okay.
But I want to say this is that we all need you to show up and support that Bama Theater. They
absolutely.
need those funds anyway.
Yes.
And I
They're
know
great folks.
I just thank you all for supporting what we're doing with
We're
this.
glad to
And,
do it.
and there's your friend Charlie Hodge.
Oh.
Charlie and that's Rick Stanley, who was Elvis's stepbrother.
Uh-huh.
Myself and Sally Jesse Raphael.
Yeah.
We were all in New York.
Charlie and I grew up together. His
that's
dad was an umpire, a baseball umpire. My mother didn't like him because he taught my strikes, balls, and
Oh,
all
my
strikes.
goodness.
But anyway, great folks. I loved them to death. But folks, remember the Elvis book signing concert, January the 17th at the historic Bama Theater. 5:30 to 6:30 will be the VIP meet and greet and book signing. And then Ronnie McDowell himself will be on stage. This is going to be a great, great evening. And along with Billy Blackwood and then Edie and DC of
Town Square Meeting.
famous Town Square media folks.
We're just
Right.
hanging out.
They're going to be hanging out. But,
Anyway,
Edie, we love you.
thank you. Thank y'all for having me
It's
today.
Thank
great
you.
pleasure.
Thanks for
And be
coming.
nice to my friend that's coming on next. He knows everything.
We'll
about
be
anything.
sure, and I'm gonna and I'm
Community.
gonna give this book away. The Genuine Elf is next week, Edie.
All right, that's
one of our
great. And
listeners.
Elvis's birthday's coming up, as you know.
That's right.
Ah, that's right.
Happy
So
birthday early.
Yes.
thank you so much. So today on the Noon Show, we're going to take a moment to look back and ahead with someone who has a front row seat to the stories shaping our community. Stephen Dethridge is the editor of the Tuscaloosa Thread, one of the most trusted sources for local news in West Alabama. From breaking headlines to the stories that spark conversation, Stephen helps us understand not just what's happening, but why it matters. We'll talk about the biggest moments from this past year and what he thinks 2026 may hold for Tuscaloosa. Stay with us, guys. You're going to love this conversation.
Yeah.
Welcome to the studio.
Hey,
Stephen
thank you.
Dethridge.
Thank you guys.
Hey,
It's great,
Stephen,
great to
good to
be
see
here.
you.
Happy New Year, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
We have the great privilege of getting to visit with Stephen on a pretty regular basis because his office is right up front in the building. And it's always fascinating to know what he's up to because he's in the, I don't know how you do what you do because you're a one-man operation almost.
Primarily, it's an interesting job to be supported by, but independent from the radio stations here.
Mhm.
So we have, tips coming in from listeners, and the news that we create at the Thread is then going out on the air. But yeah, mostly it's a one-man news gathering and writing operation, and then publishing and sharing it. It can be overwhelming, but I love it. I can't imagine really doing anything else, and it allows me to stay connected to people who really care about the community and are working to improve it, moving forward all the
Well,
time.
you're one connected young man, I can tell you that.
That's true.
And, we appreciate what you do. Thank you for what you do. Maybe we don't need, folks may not thank you enough because, I mean,
I wonder how you get it all done,
He's
honestly.
always on top of things.
Always.
He's always breaking news before just about anybody else in this town.
Well, there's a lot of news to break across restaurant, retail development, crime in courts, government action, education, industry. As you know, you could talk all day long about things that are going on in West Alabama and still fail to cover everything.
Yeah.
And so there's always something to do. I'm privileged to mostly choose what the topic of the hour is on the site and what I'll be covering, but just try to keep it limited to what matters to the reader. All delivered in a format that's free and accessible online and on our app.
How many hits you get in a day?
An average day is between 30 and 50,000 unless we have something really crazy going on. And so,
Wow.
that can translate into more than 1 million page views on TuscaloosaThread.com in a month. And in a city with 100,000 people, that's really humbling to know that not only are you reaching a pretty large segment of the population, but some of them multiple times per month. They're coming back, they're continuing to find the news there. And it is a great honor. It's one that I try and take very seriously and be humbled by, and understand that it comes with a great amount of responsibility too.
I'm just curious that all that said, looking back at 2025, is there a particular story or story series that you covered in 2025 that had the biggest impact for the year? And if so, why?
I think the big stories of 2025 were elections. It was election year in every city in Alabama, including Tuscaloosa and Northport, our two big municipalities here. And that always sort of gives you a good look into the mindset of any given community. And it was two very different elections. In Tuscaloosa, we saw incumbents do very, very well. Mayor Walt Maddox was reelected without too much challenge. And then across the city council, you saw incumbents return to office, except in District 1 in West Tuscaloosa, where Matthew Wilson was unseated by Joe Eatman, who is a political newcomer, longtime coach at Shelton State. Very excited to see what he can do in West Tuscaloosa, where there was obviously a demand for change, where, in other districts, there was more contentment and satisfaction with their representation. Just across the river in Northport, the Tuscaloosa elections were in March. They have a special set-aside date. They don't go with the rest of the state. And then months later, Northport went to the polls, along with most of the rest of the other municipalities in Alabama. And there we saw a very different story play out. where incumbents were mostly thrown out. Either they chose not to run or they were voted out of office. And the only two incumbents who remained in office in Northport are Jamie Dykes and Woodrow Washington, restaurateur in District 2, who was reelected to some people's surprise, but not to others who understand that he has an incredible ground game, a really dedicated base of supporters. But elsewhere, Mayor Dale Phillips is elected for the first time, who unseated John Hinton, who chose not to seek re-election. And then 3 new council people elected for the first time in a 5-member council. And so you have a real shift of power in Northport that I think was indicative of a desire up there from their citizens to see change, accountability, and transparency from their elected officials. It was a year of elections. We won't go to the polls again in either city for 4 years. So these groups are going to shape, the rest of this decade and take us up to 2030 almost.
Wow, that's hard to believe,
isn't it? And so these you have 7 city council members in Tuscaloosa, 5 in Northport, 2 mayors. These recently elected officials are going to, with their constituents' input, hopefully guide us, shape us, and show us what West Alabama is going to look like 4 years from now as we approach the turn of the decade. It's an exciting time, a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of those officials who I hope will listen to those who have just put them in office and earn those votes, earn that trust, and shape the community well.
Yeah, and this, while you're talking about Northport, the change was also stimulated by a pretty major story in itself.
Yes, yeah, and I assume you're talking about University Beach, although it could be any number of controversies north of the river.
But that seemed to be the center piece of the desire for change and the lack of transparency that's appeared to be part of the problem.
I think the incumbents did themselves no favors in sticking to this agreement to build, a water, not just a water park, but this lagoon resort, almost 100 acres, that was so much larger in scope than what was first presented. To multiply that scope by 5, 6, 7 times what was originally spoken about, to do that in one meeting, the same meeting where you introduce this massive expansion of scope, you vote on it. You say, oh, we are locked into this deal. We can't change anything. And we can't tell you much about it because of non-disclosure agreements, because of litigation and lawsuits, because of developer agreements. You had a lot of people deeply unsatisfied with those actions and explanations. And it'll be interesting to see how these new incumbents handle that albatross, because I believe that they will find that the agreements signed by the previous council are binding, unless there is some breach of contract that they can point to. And so these incumbents will have to figure out how they will deliver on University Beach and the promises made in that contract, given that there was a lot of, I think, dissatisfaction from their constituents about the way it was handled originally.
Yeah. Stephen, we're going to go to a break in just a minute, but I would love for you to continue this conversation, because there's some pretty significant leadership changes that have happened, not all in 2025, maybe a little bit before 2025, and it's going to happen in 2026. The change in our education sector.
Oh, yeah.
Universities and community colleges and city and county schools. And let's talk about that when we come back, because that's a pretty major shift in itself.
Absolutely. Be happy to.
Yes. And Stephen, as we come back, I'd also like to know what role that your readers, like the comments or news tips, have in the way you reported in 2025. But guys, we are up against a break. You've been listening to the Noon Show on Catfish 100.1. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Oh, when was the last time I said Catfish? That is so crazy.
Yeah, but in a while.
We just say FM 100.1. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, allowed to say Catfish? Is there
We usually say FM.
Catfish. We
wanted to rebrand, but
we're rebranding on our own.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, Catfish doesn't have the right connotations for our show.
Right.
Number 2, the show name
literally,
Catfish Star.
like the
It's
whole
got
world
some-
decides, hey, let's call Flossie in this 1 hour time span. Which,
Yeah.
Did Edie want us to give this away too?
granted,
Oh,
one was
both of us,
spam,
okay.
but still, just
Yeah, my stepmother told me
Send it
about
to me in
her group reading that. So it's just like, oh my God. Yeah.
You should go with WTBC.
it's
Or is
Time
it
does
no
not
longer
change.
TBC?
Yeah.
Is it a
It's
translator
like,
now?
surprise,
We do-
surprise,
we do.
it's at noon.
FM 100, I don't know when you said why we regret it. Just
It's-
FM 1. Our t-shirts, all
It's
our
not
paraphernalia,
rocket
all our,
What does
everything
TBC
we're
stand
doing.
for?
TBC, the three men that started it, Tommy Todd, Bert Bank, and Jeff Coleman.
That's a deep cut. That's
Little
knowledge I
history.
would
How's
never.
how's that for a little
Wow,
history?
that's yeah.
It used to, some people used to say
Good point.
Tuscaloosa's best country at one
Oh, you mean to
time,
do this logo thing?
but it's actually the three men that started the station. Bert Bank was an icon in radio here.
Right.
Big time. Of course, he was, he survived the Bataan Death March. Unbelievable story. You want to do logo?
Yeah, I'll do that. I just came up with something different.
Now here's Lisa and John.
Welcome back to the Noon Show right here on FM 100.1. So glad you're with us, and a big old Happy New Year to
Yeah,
everybody.
Happy New Year.
And Miss Lisa, we been really privileged to be working with a brand new partner here at Town Square.
Yes, that's right. Welcome to Blogo Salon and Med Spa. So I've got a question for you, Stephen and Johnny Rocket. Are you ready to refresh your look and feel amazing?
Lord knows I need
Sounds
to.
like something to do in 2026.
Absolutely, Stephen. So what you're going to want to do is visit Blogo Salon and Med Spa on Jack Warner Parkway, right here in
Is it for
Tuscaloosa.
men too?
Of course.
Okay.
What you thinking? Yeah, from expert cuts. Well, color. I don't think you color your hair, but this is more for ladies. Extensions, rejuvenating facials. Men can do facials.
Yeah. Well,
Hydrofacials.
you can get your hair cut.
Men do Botox.
Yeah, you get
You
your
can
hair
do
cut.
facials and Botox.
Sure.
Look. Regardless, Blogo has everything you need to look and feel your best.
And they've got that vitality boost.
They do. So
which makes you feel really good.
it really does. So all you got to do is call 205-861-2546, or you can book online today. Blogo Salon and Med Spa, beauty, wellness, and confidence. It's all in one place.
Sounds like a great place to go visit. They've got a classy place.
Right
They
there in
really do.
the heart of the River District
And we've been to
downtown.
visit, and you walk in, and it just feels like class.
Oh yeah.
And to Misty and Lee Garrison, thank you for
Yes,
becoming
shout
a
out to Mr.
partner
Lee Garrison.
here at Town Square. We love you guys. They're very community minded, and we appreciate them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
And in case you're just now joining us, we are joined in the Noon Show studio by Stephen Deathridge,
That's
editor of the Tuscaloosa Thread. And I believe Johnny wanted to
yeah, and we were,
continue what you were talking about, and then I had a follow-up question.
yeah, we were talking about all of the different elections, and it's going to take us to the end of the decade.
Sure.
The same goes for educational community too, because
Right.
we've changed superintendents in Tuscaloosa County. Dr. Derry has announced his retirement in the city schools.
Oh, that's
Dr.
right.
Coe and Dr. Page out at Stillman and Shelton are relatively still new, and we've got a brand new president at the University of Alabama. So they're going to shape a whole different educational environment. At least it appears they will be.
Yeah, and again, like the elected officials on the city councils and the mayor, they have their own very modern, very challenging obstacles to overcome in the next several years. You have in the county school system where Kerry Johnson was hired away last year. They've already found their new superintendent in Daniel Bray.
Right.
But the county school system, like the city school system, is staring down the barrel of less funds than they feel like they need to operate. Like a lot of school systems around the United States, these are academic institutions that got used to some of these federal COVID funds, these ESSER funds that were available in the early 2020s that have since expired.
I didn't think about that, Stephen. Wow.
And both systems, the county system and the city system, in order to try and replace those funds, have had unsuccessful campaigns to raise property taxes inside and outside of the city limits. And so both the county system and the city system are going to have to figure out how to continue to deliver good results for students in Tuscaloosa and Tuscaloosa County without that federal money and without any increased property tax revenue. It's going to be a season of finding out how to do more with less in both systems. Dr. Bray's got to figure it out in the county system, while Dr. Daria is going to retire at the end of this academic year. And he'll have huge shoes to fill as you talk about the increase in academic performance and proficiency across the Tuscaloosa City school system, not just in some areas, some schools, some zip codes, but at each of the schools in the city school
It's
system.
been amazing progress under Dr. Darius' leadership.
I'm wondering what role does the Tuscaloosa Education Foundation have in all?
Well, also, that's a great question, Lisa. And combined with that, one of the things that we've been keeping up pretty closely that I'm actually encouraged by is the Tuscaloosa and Tuscaloosa County, both the commissions on excellence in education, where they brought together a real super cross section of community to try and look at not just funding, but how do you enhance the excellence. And some of those reports I've had a little chance to look at them, really somewhat encouraging in that new approaches, new ideas, new ways of looking at our school system. So I'm going to be interested in 2026 on how that application of that new commission report comes out, how it's going to make a difference.
The key for everybody is going to be maintaining momentum. The state issues report cards every year that show you the academic proficiency of individual schools and collective school systems. And in both the Tuscaloosa County school system and the Tuscaloosa City school system are enjoying a 4 or 5 year period of pretty constant growth coming out of the pandemic, which is not guaranteed or easy. Those are tough results. The city school system this year, their state report card score for the entire collective system was an 89. They are just below the A score as a system, meaning that everyone in that system, every city school system is performing well above state averages. And to get to that coveted 90, to get to that A score and improve from there would be a real crowning achievement for whomever the board chooses to replace Dr. Daria. And the same with the county school system, figuring out how to maintain hard-earned progress in challenging times, working with artificial intelligence and small staff sizes and shifting everything constantly in flex, figuring out how to not let that achievement slip backwards. Because you know that these higher test scores, these better academic results, that can unlock a lot of improvement for a community. It will attract job makers. It can lower your crime rates. It can bring up income. Education is where it all begins. And so Dr. Bray, the next superintendent at the city school system, Dr. Moeller at UA, and Dr. Page and Dr. Coe, everyone everywhere at each of those institutions will have to make sure that they are optimizing their resources and getting the best results possible for the young minds entrusted to them.
That's a great way to put that. And we'll look ahead in 2026 in a minute. But Lisa, you had something you wanted to talk about.
Well, I did, but I have one other question. I don't know if this is way off base, but I was thinking about the Adopt a Schools program. And from the way I've heard it described, it sounds like sponsors, for lack of a better word, sponsor specific things, maybe. But one thing, I'm looking at Stephen Deathridge, he's wearing his University of Alabama sweatshirt. One thing I've seen happening at the University of Alabama is these, say, College of Arts and Sciences, College of Engineering, they're being named. Maybe that's something to be considered. Just throw that out as an idea for a fundraising campaign for the new year. What do you think? Do you think that holds water at all?
Well, that's a University of Alabama alumni sweatshirt.
I beg your pardon.
So
Roll Tide, baby.
I'm a proud alumnus of the university. They too have to be creative, and it seems like every month there's a new release in my inbox announcing a major gift from a private donor to rename a building or a library or a statue or a plaque, and draw that revenue in from sort of new and unexpected places,
right?
And get those unconventional.
Right, naming seems to be kind of it's not new, but it's a hot thing that's trending right now. But you're right, I did have another question.
Well, before you get past that one, though, because it's a great question you've asked. If you look at, and I've had the privilege of seeing a little bit inside the commission's report. One of the things kind of relates to what you're talking about. there's a lot of conversation about how you put public-private partnerships together for funding
Can I
our schools.
make another comment?
And that would fit like Tuscaloosa Education Foundation and those kind of entities.
Right. So on with it, just fundraising and naming and all, just new ideas. Somebody, this was a long time ago, said we ask that people where they can say you've got money or however, whatever you've got, and you want to make a donation. They would say, would you put a life insurance policy in our name?
That's right.
How about that? That
Sure.
you get lots more money. You have to wait for it, but you start planting seeds now.
Leave it in your
There's
state.
another. There's
Mhm,
another.
mhm.
Leave it in your state, and they get more when you pass.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
it's
kind
part
of what,
and it's part of your legacy.
yeah, and it's kind of what that public-private partnership resource approach is kind of looking at. So you're right on target, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
very much.
are.
But I still want to know from Stephen Deathridge.
Yeah, do you want
I want
to know?
to know about like your readers. I often wonder how. I know people are throwing things at you. Sometimes I send my little ideas to Stephen. I'll text him. But I know you got a lot of people with a lot of ideas of what you should cover in the news. So, what impact do your readers have with their tips and their comments on the things that you do? What does that look like?
We'll try and go rapid fire as we get towards the end of the hour. But yeah,
Wow.
it is amazing. I could not do. You guys noted it's a small staff right now. The Tuscaloosa thread consists of me, and I'm backed up and supported by everybody else here at Town Square Media. But when you're looking at the Tuscaloosa thread, the people whose job is to focus on that brand, that news, and delivering it, there's one employee.
Well, you are the Tuscaloosa thread, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
That's not a permanent state of affairs.
Well-
I hope we can have, freelancers and interns and reporters back in the building again. But you can imagine on a one-man show, primarily, you cannot do that without help. And social media, reader tips, callers who listen to these radio shows, and they call their DJ, and their DJ texts down to me and says, hey, somebody who's listening just reported a bad wreck or a big fire or a major police response, or good news or news tips. So you say, I've got somebody who wants to know what's coming to this empty location. What's this? There's a sign up for a new coffee shop. What's it all about? When is that Starbucks going to open? Those questions, they let us know what the reader is thinking about, what they're seeing, what's of interest to them. And then I have the really fun job of just tracking it down, figuring out what the answer is to what they're curious about. And what I found is if one reader is curious about something, a lot of readers are curious about it.
We
And-
found that out around here, that you hear from one or two on one thing, that means there's a bunch of other folks thinking it too.
And as soon as when you clock in on that and realize answering those questions is a service that you can provide to keep people informed and engaged and entertained where it's appropriate, that's very exciting stuff. And the work doesn't feel overwhelming when it's so obviously driven by questions that the community has about what's going on around them.
We're talking about 2025, but we're going to get near another break. But let's put this question on out there. Looking ahead to 2026.
Yeah, let's do
There are
it.
going to be some significant changes that we're going to experience, and I got a feeling a little bit about what's going to happen in 2026 and what we can be looking for.
It's amazing as somebody who is a lifelong Alabama resident, and in so many communities, you either see stagnation or decline. In 2026, boy, the way there are going to be so many projects going on in Tuscaloosa County, not just projects, period, but projects that exceed $100 million or more in total costs. You're talking about the Sports Illustrated Resort, the Sabin Center, the University Beach Lagoon Resort, infrastructure projects like the Woolsey-Fennell Bridge replacement, Jack Warner Parkway Phase 3. You will not be able to throw a stone without hitting how many figures is that? A 9-figure project in Tuscaloosa County.
It's going to be amazing.
It's an exciting time.
Well,
And
the Woolsey-Fennell Bridge replacement makes me nervous for some reason.
the Woolsey-Fennell Bridge is going to go from a humble 4-lane where traffic sometimes can get clogged up to a 8-lane mega bridge over the Black Warrior River. Well, the project that started as a 6-lane extension is now an 8-lane replacement.
Oh, wow.
And
when you go on and look at the imaging that they put together to show you how it's going to work, it blows your mind. I mean, it really does.
if you want my prediction for 2026 in a few words, orange cones, orange cones everywhere.
They're going to be born and growing everywhere.
Why
That's
does
there to
my
be
stomach
in
hurt all of a sudden,
That's
Stevie
right.
Denver?
Oh,
Y'all,
my.
we are up against a break. You've been listening to the Noon Show on FM 100.1. Don't go away. We will be here right back. Now, the mayor was talking about that, but how are they going to do that? Like, is the bridge going to be down for a
Nope.
while?
No.
They're going to keep at least one lane in each direction.
Oh,
open for the
that hurts
duration.
because I go to the gym and I work out certain days of the week and they come here.
I would start using the other bridges.
I'm going to have to go somewhere.
There are
I
three
can't go that
bridges.
route.
There are 3 bridges. You can take Lurleen Wallace, you can take Woolsey Fennell, or you can take the Bryant Bridge. And I would start taking another bridge because for
How
4 or
long is that
5
projected to take?
forever, 4 or 5 years at least. It's going to
No.
be. Oh, it's
What
going
bridge
to
is
be.
this?
3 from the time they start.
The bridge from, that goes
The
from,
McFarland, Highway 82.
It
passes
Nightmare
DCH,
City.
But you ought to go
Yes.
look at the AlDOT website.
Surrender.
But it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it shows how it's
It
going to
doesn't
be
really
done. It will blow your mind.
Yes, it will. But it's. I mean, Johnny's saying 3 years. It's a state project.
I'm talking
It's
about construction.
yeah. It's a
It'll
state
take
project.
2 years to get construction underway.
I'm telling you, five at the bare
yeah.
minimum.
I hope I'm alive.
And there's water.
Here we go again.
Watch her. Watch her.
I mean, I can't really complain because I might not even be here. You know, like, right?
Or messages now on the Catfish Tuscaloosa app. Here's
Welcome back to the Noon Show right here.
Yeah,
on
welcome back.
FM 100.1 with Miss Sunshine and myself. And we're happy you're with us. And want to say thank you to another one of our wonderful sponsors.
Oh,
And a big old Happy New Year to Poochie Pool, Jamie, Krista, John, and the whole team at Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers. The best jeweler in Tuscaloosa.
they are.
And quite frankly, as far as we're concerned, the best in the world, because they are so good at what they do. And folks, they are locally owned, they're family owned, and an iconic retailer, and have been named the best jeweler in town many years in a row now. And they are the ones that help the rest of us put smiles on other people's faces
Oh, definitely.
because of their great merchandise, their fantastic service. They just know how to help us and serve us. And to Hudson Pool and the whole family, we want to say Happy New Year to you and thank you for what you do for our community, because you support so many different charitable, nonprofit, philanthropic causes here. And we appreciate Poogie, you and the team. You do such a beautiful job. And folks, go by and visit them. And if you're an out-of-towner, like many of our listeners may be, and we've actually heard that they have actually bought on hudsonpool.com.
Yes, and
And,
I love that.
So if you're going to find that perfect gift to put a smile on somebody's face, there's only one place you need to go. And that's go see our friends at Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers, 1111 Greensboro Avenue in beautiful downtown T-Town. Tell them Lisa and Johnny sent you. And again, from all the family and team at Hudson Pool, Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year.
But okay, Stephen, we're gonna do some fast moving
Quick
questions.
draw.
Now,
I'm ready.
now, you've mentioned the changes locally, but in 2026, there's going to be changes statewide in leadership.
Yes, yeah, we've got
And
a.
so, you said it in an interesting way. We're going to have 4 years going to the end of this decade with new leadership.
That's right.
That's cool.
It is cool, and it's a great responsibility for whomever ends up in that office. I consider it a great responsibility for the electorate, for everybody out there who is listening, to register to vote, to figure out where your polling place is, to learn as much as you can about the candidate, and then find who represents your values. Whether you think those values align with mine or Johnny's or Lisa's or anyone's is of little importance. But align your vote with your values based on being educated on what the issues are, what the candidates bring to the table, beyond a party line, beyond an endorsement, beyond the signs you see in the yard.
Yeah.
I think that it is an imperative for us to learn as much as possible, vote as intelligently as possible, and again, as we've said a few times, the folks that we entrust with these positions will be leading us for a long
That's
time.
right.
They will make decisions that impact us more than any president, any congressman,
That's true.
any U.S. senator.
That's
Your
true.
city council person, your governor, they can make decisions that will impact your life immediately
Yes.
and significantly.
Yeah.
So whoever you vote for, get informed
Yeah, get informed.
and go vote.
That's great advice. And to
I
everyone
like it.
listening, remind you that the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch basically are all up for election in 1 year. And that's a big responsibility we have as citizens. You said it well. Also looking ahead, do you see other stories coming in 2026 that you're kind of intrigued by or following or interested?
Yeah, or maybe there's something that you haven't covered this year that you would cover next year.
You know, I think that the crime it's always a topic of conversation when you're looking year in review, when you're looking ahead. We'll hit hot notes on that fast. 2024 was one of the worst years for violent crime that Tuscaloosa has ever seen, period. Not recently, but in all of its history. And so violent crime is down in 2025. And I would celebrate that, but only with the caveat that it is not down from 2023 or 2022. It's only down from that high water mark of 2024. And when you look back at the years before that, it's right in line, if not higher than it was prior to last year. But thankfully, after an extremely violent year last year, we have seen those numbers retreat back to what I hope we don't ever view as normal, but at least is down from that high point. In 2026, I think the city council, the mayor will tell you that this newly approved public safety commissioner is going to be a big deal. This is a recently approved position in the city of Tuscaloosa that will oversee all police, fire, and E911 operations. There are a lot of differing opinions about whether this position was necessary, whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Well, that hiring process is going to really ramp up in January. And when it does, we'll see what impact, if any, this new position and leadership with unification of direction, what impact does that have on violent crime, if any at all? You have some city council people who chose to push this forward, push this position forward, who hope it will have a measurable impact. You have some who are a little more pessimistic, who don't think that a almost $200,000 salary for a new leadership position is the way to combat crime. 2026 is going to be a real litmus test for that. Who does the city council put in that seat, and what do they do with the job? How does that impact violent crime in Tuscaloosa County, if at all? And we'll see how those trends develop.
Well, speaking of violent crime, Stephen, I'm wondering, I would just say I cannot help but wonder, do your readers respond more to the bad news or the good news that you write?
It really is a healthy mix, and we live in a time where you can track those things more effectively than ever. Running selling a newspaper, maybe people bought the paper because they liked the picture on the front page or the above the fold headline. Maybe they're just loyal readers. Maybe they needed something to wrap their fish in. But in the modern era, you can track every single visit to your page. You have a lot of metrics to answer questions about how the reader responds to good news and bad news. I would say that the readership in West Alabama responds well to exclusive news. They really like stories about new restaurants that they haven't been to.
I'm very pleased to hear that.
About government action that maybe nobody else is talking about. It would surprise you how much people read about a road project so they understand when it's going to go on, what impact they can expect in their lives. But yes, there's, so far this year, there have been 21 homicides in Tuscaloosa County. Each one of those has merited coverage, the stories to be put out, and people do respond. Every one of those violent crimes especially impacts the life of the victim. It impacts the life of the suspect, especially in Tuscaloosa County, where pretty much nobody gets away with it. The investigators here are best in the state, maybe best in the nation at catching suspects after homicides. So you've got a life lost, you have another life ruined, in jail or prison for the rest. And then the folks who survive outside of it, their lives are changed forever. And so those people do respond to crime stories. And I don't think it's because of maybe an obsession with bad news. I don't think we present it that way. I don't think we send it out in a way that is manipulative or or encourages people to jump on it because it's bad news.
Well, I know you obviously see analytics. That's why I wanted to ask you that question. Primarily because as I watch TV news, oh my gosh, it's almost exclusively the bad news, the crime. Yeah, you know, and I often wonder to myself, why don't we have good news segments on television news?
TV markets are tough. You know, a lot of our stations are covering not just Tuscaloosa, but large multi-county areas. And when you expand the surface area and the population count like that, there's a lot of bad news. And you know, and what's the alternative? You know, you see someone tragically loses
Well,
their life.
it's sensational, and that's what draws people in.
Well, I think they
Do
make
you
it
think,
sensational, and sometimes they don't need to, but it's part of life. But I'm kind of like Lisa. Oftentimes, you know, the lead in or the headline kind of stirs it up a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah.
It just seems odd sometimes. But Stephen, because we are going to run out of
Right.
time in a minute, looking ahead again, are there some other stories that you see happening in 2026 that kind of intrigue you that you're going to be following?
The development of the Sabin Center, I think, is unprecedented in our time. You know,
Okay.
you've got a $120 million facility. Construction's almost 30% of the
Excited
way
about
done.
that,
I mean,
yes.
you can watch that thing coming together, and it is going to. I don't know what it's going to do. It'll be exciting to see what it does.
Do you know
As-
approximate timing of it being online?
They want to open.
2027. isn't it?
Yes,
Wow.
and spring or summer 2027.
Yeah,
Not
that's
too late into it.
It's not far
And
away.
it will draw students, children, educators, families to this thing that bears the name of Nick and Terry Sabin, that tries to rival the McWayne Center, that is this new modern space in the heart of the River District. You will see the Woolsey Fennell Bridge replacement amp up, and 82 is going to become an even bigger mess than it is now. We'll see Jack Warner Parkway Phase 3 open up. The way some people talk about that, about Jack Warner, especially the mayor, if you talk about the expansion of Jack Warner Parkway at the wooden railroad trestle in downtown, people talk about that unlocking development of West Tuscaloosa. And especially if you look at the future in a long lens, about a 4 or 5 year period ahead, if you begin developing kind of that Tuscaloosa Country Club, West Tuscaloosa area, there's a lot of potential over there.
There is, and
Yeah.
we'll eventually have, I think it's a 9-mile connected riverfront.
I could not be more excited to get on a river walk that goes from the Lock and Dam, the Oliver Lock and Dam in West Tuscaloosa, all the way through the heart of downtown, past the University of Alabama campus, across that brand new Woolsey
That's
Fennell
right.
Bridge, and then connecting past the Sports Illustrated Resort to the Northern River Walk, all the way up to the expanded McWright's Ferry Road. It's incredible. It will be unrivaled in the state or region, and really showcasing the Black Warrior River and the glory and beauty that we have there to celebrate.
Okay, before we completely run out of time, I'm wondering, do you have any job openings or intern positions available at the Tuscaloosa Thread?
We'll have to ask the folks who signed the checks. I would say anybody who is interested in learning about journalism, who would like to develop their portfolio, should get in touch. And we can figure out what makes sense for all parties. But there are always opportunities here for interns and freelancers. And as the brand continues to grow, hopefully even more than that.
Wonderful.
Stephen, always great to see you. We appreciate what you do, the leadership you provide, and the excellence in covering the news and getting it out to all of us.
Yes,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
We
Thank you
really
for
do.
that.
Thank you for having us. And just tell people to check out TuscaloosaThread.com,
Absolutely.
download the free mobile app. Try not to waste your time. Keep you informed, educated, and entertained.
You do a beautiful job, and
Wonderful.
we appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Johnny.
Happy New Year. We are out of time. We will be right back here on January the 5th, but we are going to take a couple days off. I'm going to go ahead and close us out in a slightly different way. I would like to recite an Irish blessing. May the road rise before you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hands. We'll be back here and see you on the radio on January 5th. May God bless you all, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Beautifully done.
Thank you.
And remember, the Rose Bowl will win then.
You know what?
There's always something else to